My girlfriend was born and grew up in Kazakhstan, but her dad is actually from Kyrgyzstan. Her uncle, or her dad's brother, and many more family members live there, so we decided to visit them for a few days and then cross the border to Kazakhstan. Will the country be as welcoming and beautiful as we think, or will we end up having a bad time? Let's find out. And by the way, there's a whole conclusion of my experiences at the end. Kyrgyzstan's history is marked by nomadic cultures and very significant geopolitical shifts. The first inhabitants were different nomadic tribes living with horses and tents. Later it was part of the Silk Road, but then, boom, the Russian Empire appeared in the 19th century, and in 1917 it became a Soviet republic. Which of course meant the Second World War. Approximately 360,000 people from Kyrgyzstan served in the Soviet armed forces during World War II. That's 24% of its entire population, by the way, being estimated at roughly 1.5 million people at the time. Many fought on the front lines, and around 100,000 are estimated to have died in the conflict. The war overall had a significant impact and deeply scarring effect on the region and its population, as the Soviets weren't known for their support for communities or family or anybody really. Well, communism. When we got Chernobyl and Berlin Wall, blah blah blah, the Soviets were gone. After gaining independence in 1991, the country faced political instability, with two major revolutions in 2005 and 2010. Today, Kyrgyzstan is a parliamentary republic known for its rich culture, beautiful nature, friendly inhabitants and natural resources. Nonetheless, it still faces a lot of ongoing challenges in governance and economic development. More on that later. So now you know a bit more, let's get into it. And by the way, these are all my experiences and opinions, as well as what I've been told and what we talked about. So yeah, let's go. We flew from Berlin to Istanbul and then to Bishkek. Only problem, I cut my finger on a tomato can that morning, so my finger was bleeding the whole way. But we managed to cover the wound somewhat properly and got to Kyrgyzstan safely. Tired and wasted, we arrived. After a quick passport control, her uncle and his wife picked us up at 5 in the morning. They were instantly very friendly and showed great hospitality. After drinking some tea and eating bread/naan, we finally got to bed at 8 a.m. Our room was located in an entirely empty house that is just for guests. It was really impressive and feels like an old stylish castle, more on that later. We built our bed on the floor and quickly fell asleep. We slept till 4 p.m. and still were very tired, as we flew from Portugal to Switzerland to Germany to Turkey to Kyrgyzstan within 1 week. The sister of my girlfriend's uncle's wife made us fresh and homemade food. Everything on this table is homemade. In Kyrgyzstan, people drink a lot of fresh tea with honey or other sweets. You usually drink from small bowls instead of glasses, and you drink them with one hand, not like me here with two. Oops. Everything is decorated in a very specific and elegant way. The whole floor is usually covered with different carpets. The lights are not just light bulbs but chandeliers instead. Every glass, every bowl, every piece of cutlery is noble or even feels aristocratic. The walls are blistered with wonderful patterns. The lights are very bright and there usually are no smaller light sources in the room. After a while, the youngest son came home. He introduced himself as Elham. He is 10 years old and speaks a few words of English. That's pretty good. After talking for a while, he showed us some of his drawings. Go follow him on TikTok to see more paintings from him. They are really impressive and extremely detailed. They also get the style of the anime pretty well. Afterwards, her uncle showed us a video of his daughter's wedding. In Kyrgyzstan, there are traditionally multiple parts to a wedding. There is a lot of exchanging gifts, hugs and words between the family of the wife and the husband. It is both a sad and happy moment for everyone. Sad as the kids are leaving the house, but also happy as they start a new life and family together. It was really emotional and beautiful to watch. A lot of tradition is involved here, from the dancing to the singing to the moderation of everything. Everyone is very well dressed. Some people wear the traditional Kyrgyz hat called khalbak. I love these hats as they have a fascinating style and fit every occasion.
Это все подарок. Вон. Отец мой.
Хорошо.
Вот дочка. Здесь просто...
Только начало.
Да, Кудалар.
Es gibt so einen Teil vor dem Hochzeit, Kudaluk heißt das,
Ja.
wo die zwei Seiten, das sagen wir, dein Ehemann und
Ja.
meine, und dann die werden sich kennenlernen und Geschenke zueinander schenken.
В этом доме, вот, где вчера были, Вась, там. Они здесь, в этом доме. Мама. Там очень много мяса были.
Очень много мяса.
Много мяса, ja.
Я такой грустный все время, такой был. Вот этот ресторан у нас в городе первое место.
Größte und die beste Restaurant in der
Oh. It was actually very emotional for me as well, not only because everyone cried and there's beautiful music all over, but also because it was my first time ever witnessing something like that. It is really overwhelming, both in emotion and in the spectacle of it all. As you can see, I especially love the elegant dancing. Elkhan brought me a toy katana to try out. I had a lot of fun pretending to be a samurai. And yes, my moves look pretty cringe. Here is me trying out really popular ice cream in Central Asia from Kulikov. I loved it. We continued to watch some more of the wedding videos, there's actually a lot of them. And here you can see a very famous Kyrgyz singer performing some of his songs. Afterwards, we went to the guest house to get ready for dinner. But then the youngest son came to us with a surprise gift. He gave me Luffy from One Piece, an incredible drawing and one of my favorite anime characters. Thank you so much, Elkhan. We got back to the uncle's family and his first daughter, Shahzada, has arrived. The wedding videos we watched earlier actually were from her wedding. And by the way, this is a very big football stadium in Kyrgyzstan. Looks very impressive. We got into the bigger dining room and started eating bread with jam and a lot of other things. Everything tastes so good. Meanwhile, I was talking with the uncle's third child, Erbo. We had some really great talks. Thank you so much, Erbo. Oh yeah, and I forgot to add, we actually talked a lot about culture, about languages, and especially about football, because he loves football and boxing. They all wanted me to taste this Kyrgyz drink. It tastes a bit like beer, but it has no alcohol in it. Really interesting stuff. We ate some amazing food and then had some great time and talks with the family. They told us a lot about Kyrgyzstan, more on that later. Elkhan performed a poem by Manas, the most important poet / writer from Kyrgyzstan. They compared his importance to Shakespeare. I was so in awe, I completely forgot to record anything. Oops.
Айтайын батырман азды, мұның арбақтары қолдоса, атаң ардың жомоғы, айтпай қойсоқ болуы.
We all took a photo in the living room and I was welcomed to the family. More on that later. Imirlan also told us about the big dining room in the guest house. We wanted to check it out, so we said goodnight to everyone and got back to our house. We opened the doors and looked at this amazing dining room made for 20 people, for special occasions. It is covered with the finest glasses and decorations, most wonderful chairs and couches. It really is amazing. There are mirrors everywhere, it makes the room seem even bigger. And of course, a big TV to watch weddings and other things together. And yeah, my girlfriend filmed this little bit. Sorry. Hello Kyrgyzstan. Rahmat for the warm welcome. I am ready for everything. We got up at 3 p.m. and yeah, I know what you're thinking right now, so let me explain. We were extremely sleep deprived and also had jet lag cause Kyrgyzstan just changed its clocks from 3+ to 4+ hours from Germany, and in Portugal it's also -1 hour, so yes, explanation over. Anyways, afterwards Elhan showed me a bit from his favorite movie. Kazakh and Kyrgyzstan people, tell me in the comments if you know this film. The family gifted us original chocolate made in Kyrgyzstan. I also saw a lot of Elhan's paintings around the house. Here's my girlfriend sitting in the living room. Everything is so well decorated and old-fashioned. People in Central Asia eat a lot of meat, especially horse meat, cow and chicken. Pig is forbidden due to their Muslim beliefs. We then sat down in the other living room to watch some Magnificent Century, a Turkish series/soap opera about Sultan Süleyman and the Ottoman Empire. The family likes to eat a lot of sweets, you can see them everywhere on the table. For me, as a diabetic type 1, I had to be careful to not eat too much. They taste really good. I sat down to eat some bread with jam and drink some tea. As to respect the tradition of this country, even when I am alone, I did the whole ritual and it was actually kind of soothing to me. After putting the net back on top, I left the table. Anelia was still a bit tired, so she laid on the couch. Elhan came and wanted to play checkers with us. He absolutely destroyed me. My girlfriend was doing much better against him. Nonetheless, I asked to play a round of chess/Schachmat, but he didn't know all the rules. I won in 5 rounds. I actually feel pretty bad. Sorry, Elhan. The whole family was working in the store/magazine, so we decided to visit them. It is located directly next to the family's house, so it was just a 10-second walk. The whole family works in the store when they are not going to school or have university or something else to do. Imerlan greets everyone who enters the store, which I liked very much. They have a lot of different things to sell here, from chocolate to pencils to big sacks full of sugar or salt. Sweets are very popular in Kyrgyzstan and they have a lot of different variations. They also had my favorite chocolate from Kazakhstan. It's so good. Everyone in this family is a hard worker and they are proud of what they do. I have a lot of respect for Imerlan and Farida. They raised their children very well. They closed the store and we got back to watch a wedding video from his daughter, this time organized by the other family, Klasna. The food was ready, so we ate, this time a traditional dish called plov. It is basically rice with carrots and horse meat. It was so delicious. I already ate it one time before in Berlin, but of course not with horse meat. After some amazing talks about politics, economics, tradition and family and much more on that later, we watched some UFC. Erbol is doing boxing. I also boxed for 3 years and do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 5 years. We had a great time discussing what could have happened if they did this or that or whatever. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, there was a very interesting judo moment where he got punched in the face instead of throwing him, but yeah.
Okay, you were here. He was here. Okay, he was here.
Yes.
Then he let go. He wanted to go here. And then yes. But what he should have done, he's here, so he pushes to this.
Yes.
Or he goes here, or he goes here. Yes. You see? But he did this. And then
After watching for a while, we finally got to bed. We get up relatively early and we're still pretty jet-lagged. And by the way, Anelia got these beautiful flowers as a gift yesterday. Imerlan said we go to the mountains now, so we packed everything in the car and got going. Sadly, Erbol couldn't join us because he had to work in the store, and yes, it's also opened on Sundays. The work ethic here is very strong. Oh, and by the way, as a little fun fact, Imerlan told us that people would knock on his door and call him if the store is closed on Sundays or when he's away for traveling or whatever. So he has to leave the store open. Also, something else is different to Germany. Most people wear no seatbelts. But why? There's not a single reason for it, but apparently it's a lack of education, a lack of enforcement from police, and just generally a lack of awareness. Although I've heard similar stories from people from post-Soviet states, so if you have some, share your experiences and opinions in the comments below. By the way, this is what happens when you don't wear your seatbelt. Well, anyways, the traffic not only in Kyrgyzstan but in the whole of Central Asia deserves its own video, but I try to make it short here. Let's be honest, the traffic situation faces a lot of issues here. For example, the roads in Kyrgyzstan are generally in bad conditions, but why? The country's mountainous terrain makes road construction and maintenance challenging. Frequent landslides and erosion can damage road infrastructure. Harsh winters and heavy rainfall contribute to road degradation, causing potholes and other surface issues. Economic constraints limit funding for road maintenance and improvement. Budget priorities often focus on immediate needs rather than infrastructure. Many roads were built during the Soviet era and have not been maintained or upgraded since the independence in 1991. These factors create significant challenges for transportation and infrastructure development. I saw a lot of construction projects around the city, so the government is working and is slowly but surely improving its infrastructure. And here's a tiny cat crossing the road. Okay, next one. Did you see some people that sit on the wrong side of the car? Well, yes you did. Around 50% of cars have the steering wheel on the wrong side. Kyrgyzstan is right-hand traffic, so the steering wheel should be on the left side. But due to much lower costs, a lot of cars are imported from Japan, so they have it on the wrong side for the country's rules. As you can see, nobody really cares, and after a while you get used to it. And of course, while it is unsafer because you have lower visibility and so on, it's just also kind of funny.
Это везде так. В Казахстане то же самое, правильно?
То же самое, да. Es gibt immer Stau am Wochenende in die Berge. Weil alle wollen da.
Здесь рыба жарит.
Президентов.
Das ist das Haus von dem Präsidenten.
Wow.
За городом там коттеджи, мотеджи.
Das sind so Cottage für Leute, die
Und von da?
sich entspannen wollen, am Wochenende kommen, die haben ein eigenes Haus. Da kann man mieten.
Вода холодная.
Wasser ist sehr kalt.
Вот это все сама природа.
Alles ist pure Natur.
Здесь искусственно ничего нету.
Es gibt nichts Künstliches.
We got to a checkpoint where you need to pay an entry fee. Kyrgyzstan has a population of 6.6 million. A lot of them live here in Bishkek, 1 million to be precise. While there are other big cities like Osh with 300,000 people, most citizens live in rural areas. As you can see, Bishkek is a very busy city. Public transport is an option, but most people depend on cars.
Ажарыңа арбалып, дидарыңа зарланып, қаны ырдадым, бұлбұл құшқан айланып, қино салған қылығың қызғалдақтай бұралып, күн кешке созым оғын күкік болу үн салып, үн салып, үн салып, үн салып.
As you can see, a lot of people are here. They park their cars and walk somewhere in the nature to have a picnic. Imerlan needed to park the car somewhere, so we got out and started exploring. We looked at the Turistische Marschroute, and it's like different hiking tracks for tourists, but this time we won't take one of them, as we're just here for a picnic in the beautiful nature. So here we are, Alsha National Park, built in 1976. There are many animals in this area, from mountain goats to bears to deers to snow leopards, from wolves to squirrels, horses, many different birds and much more. There are so many different kinds of animals, in fact more than 170. The region is roughly 194 square kilometers in size. It begins at 1,500 meters in height and goes up to 4,895 meters at a mountain called Alamudun Shokusu. You can see lots of different trees. They go up to 2,500 meters. There are more than 800 different kinds of plants here. Multiple rivers lead from all the way up down to the beginning of the park. In conclusion, the nature is diverse and truly amazing. So what about the people? Well, a lot of people here are either locals or from Russian-speaking countries. Also some Chinese folks and a rare few English-speaking people. And of course us, speaking German. Auf Englisch. Was?
Cringe.
Here we saw a couple filming their love story. It is a tradition where you film a most times fictional story on how two lovers met for the first time. It is filmed before their wedding and it is about celebrating their love. I heard about this tradition from Kazakhstan, but it is so cute to see it filmed in real life. In Kyrgyzstan, the love story often involves traditional Kyrgyz clothes. I actually really love this concept and I'm probably gonna do this one as well in the future. So subscribe to see my future love story with Anelia. Here you can see some people shooting a bow. It is another important part of Kyrgyz culture. I'm actually quite good at it and got a few bows myself at home. So next time I try it here too. We took a couple of photos and then moved on. Elhan showed us a few spots, especially a traditional Kyrgyz tent called yurt. They are beautifully designed and are of course handcrafted. Their smart design makes them easy to assemble and disassemble, while still being easily portable. They have a big cultural significance in Kyrgyzstan, as they represent the country's nomadic heritage, and they are still used today. Imerlan found a parking spot a few minutes away, so we walked to the car. I tried my best with my bad Russian to communicate, and we actually made a lot of progress, as Imerlan knew which words I understand. The rest was a matter of hand gestures and just pointing on things. And also of course my girlfriend, who is the best interpreter in the world, as she translated German to Kyrgyz and helped me with my Russian. So yeah, love you German. By the way, she doesn't directly speak Kyrgyz but Kazakh. The languages are really similar, more on that later. Imerlan told us a lot about the trees and nature in this area. There are certain trees and plants that can only be found in that combination worldwide in this park. Imerlan and I agreed that the nature is really important and we should protect it. I'm half German, half Mongolian Portuguese, and both Germany and Portugal have really different nature and climates. We talked a lot about the nature in Portugal and that he really wants to see the ocean, especially the Atlantic, and eat Portuguese food.
Seja onde for neste mundo, todos nós temos fado, o meu está bem definido.
We got to a natural fountain with fresh and clean drinking water. It tastes really, really good.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Es gibt keinen Gott außer Allah. Gott schützt uns.
We moved on to the other side of the road. There are multiple small picnic huts or pavilions scattered around all over the place. You can picnic in every one of them. We got back to the car cause Imerlan told us there are nicer ones down the road. He wanted me to sit next to him in the front as I am the future husband of Anelia and an honored guest. In Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan the future husband is called Kubala. So I am the Kubala. I have to add that Imerlan and everyone else treated me with the utmost respect and took their time to explain all the tradition and rules. Rahmat, Rahmat, thank you so much. And now you will see some beautiful nature while I talk about some other things I touched on earlier. Kyrgyzstan has, as I mentioned in the intro, a lot of natural resources that are very valuable. While the government gains a lot of profit from them, like uranium, a big part of the population is against it, as there are of course health and security concerns. But also because Russia and China have a big interest in uranium. Political groups from Kyrgyzstan have raised concerns as they fear a bigger connection to their old occupying forces. Also, people are skeptical if the government can handle mining resources without prioritizing short-term economic gains over the health and well-being of local communities. As you can see, the nature of Kyrgyzstan is truly breathtaking. And that's pretty ironic because the air is so fresh and clean here. After walking across some rivers, we came to the right spot. Covered in leaves and yet gently touched by the sun, this pavilion is perfect. While preparing the food, I looked around the area. It is hard to describe, but the smell of everything here is so refreshing and fulfilling. It is customary to take your shoes off before entering. Look at all this tasty food. Oof. Anelia and Elham played a little game where you have to punch your egg into your opponent's egg. The egg that splitters loses. We ate potatoes, eggs and much more. Imerlan and Farida waving to the camera. Great people with great hearts. Oh, and for anyone wondering, I guess you could already see it, but I didn't have a camera, I just filmed it all with my phone. Yeah. After eating and talking for a while, we explored the area. We found a lot of things, from old toilets you can't use anymore to pretty advanced pavilions. Small rivers, a squirrel climbing up a tree. I get it now. This country is beautiful. It amazes me how peaceful it feels to just walk here. It fills a void I never knew existed. A deep longing for something like this. A dream I dreamed in a past life. Something I can't remember yet still feel. This small moment changed me and made me much calmer and wiser. It is hard to explain, but I think having the love of my life, Anelia, with me on all my journeys prepared me for the biggest journey of them all, the rest of my life in this beautiful world. We got back to the family. Imerlan taking pictures of Farida. Imerlan and I drink from the river. It's cold and fresh water, but it's really, really good. Imerlan and Farida take pictures of Elham, and yeah, It's basically a whole photo shoot right here. We took a photo together and then got back to the car. Oh yeah, and here you can see some kids throwing rocks. I just love that it doesn't matter which country, it doesn't matter. The kids always do the same things. Like they just love throwing rocks. It doesn't matter. It's just a universal experience. I love it. It brings me so much joy, I don't know. Do svidaniya, you beautiful mountains. I'll see you again soon enough. And now let me talk a bit about the differences, or rather similarities, between Kazakh and Kyrgyz. Both Kazakh and Kyrgyz are Turkic languages from the Kipchak group, so they share a significant amount of vocabulary, grammar and structure. Both languages have similar vowel and consonant systems, making them sound somewhat alike, especially to non-native ears like mine. Both languages use a case system to show the grammatical function of nouns, similar to German. The typical sentence structure in both languages is subject, object, verb. Both countries share a nomadic heritage and similar lifestyles, so cultural terms, practices and traditions are very close related to each other. Oh, and by the way, subscribe to see my 2.5-week journey through Kazakhstan. Let's see how similar the languages really are. The Kazakh and Kyrgyz language have shifted between different alphabets over the years. It was written in Arabic, then Cyrillic, and now Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan are slowly trying to transition to the Latin alphabet, although Cyrillic is still commonly used. Kazakh has a wider range of sounds compared to Kyrgyz. The consonant systems are not identical. Kazakh is more complex than Kyrgyz. Kazakh uses some grammatical forms that are not found in Kyrgyz and vice versa. Both languages have different regional dialects, but the dialects of Kazakh are often considered to be more divergent from one another compared to the dialects of Kyrgyz, which tend to be more similar across the country. The languages are of course unique, but they have a lot of similarities and can be generally understood by both countries. Anelia said she perfectly understands like 60 to 70% of Kyrgyz, but it heavily depends on the situation and topic of discussion. For me, the Kyrgyz and Kazakh situation has similarities to Portuguese and Spanish, although these two languages have a very different sound, but yeah, still neighbors.
Бақытқа балқыған, жан дүйнем шалқыған жаным Жалындаған, жараланған жүрегімді Sen anı bilbeysin, sen anı sezbeysin Sen mende süybeysin canım Sultanıp qarağanı, көңілді bağlap bayağanı Handağım
We arrived at home. Elhan taught us how to do the bird whistle. I'm really bad at it. But Anelia is much better. We got ready for our last dinner with the family. We ate some great food and then talked a lot. Imerlan showed me some traditional Kyrgyz music and I showed them some Portuguese fado. Afterwards, they brought me a dombra-like instrument called komus. It has 3 strings and is very difficult to play. Imerlan told me every household in Kyrgyzstan should have these 3 things. The hat called kalpak, the instrument called komus, and the whip for horses called kamshi. Then they had a big surprise for me. The family gave me the kalpak as a gift. Rahmat, this is the best gift I've ever received. I will wear it with pride and thankfulness. Thank you so much, this is great. And yes, you will see me wear it in my upcoming videos about Kazakhstan. We watched some more wedding videos and talked a lot. Rahmat, Kyrgyzstan. Thank you Imerlan and Farida for the warm goodbye and your friendly welcome.
Take my
Tamerlan called us a taxi very early in the morning, as we had a long journey ahead of us. They all said they are going to miss us and we should visit them as soon as possible. The whole family said goodbye, until the next time. We got into the taxi and made our way to the border. I reflected on everything I have experienced. The city really grew on me, even though I've only seen a small glimpse of it. Goodbye, Bishkek. I haven't seen everything in Kyrgyzstan, but I will come back for sure. At the beginning of the video I said conclusion at the end, but there is no conclusion. I want you to make your own conclusion right here in Kyrgyzstan. And just like that, we cross the border to Kazakhstan and are on our way to the next part in the journey of love. Rahmat.
My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure. But does she really wanna, but can't stand to see me walk out the door? I can't stand to fight the feeling, cause the thought alone is killing me right now. Thank God for Mom and Dad for sticking two together, cause we don't know how. Hey, 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 wow. Hey, 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 hey.